Mario Kart World has been a disaster for Nintendo from the start, with tons of criticism about the high price, average gameplay, and overall mediocre execution. But now that it's been 4 months since the game has come out, Nintendo fans are claiming that Mario Kart World is dead, which is really ironic because these same fans were praising the game when it came out. But is Mario Kart World really dead, or is there a positive side to it that nobody is talking about? I'll explain it all in this video, and at the end, I'll give you my take on the whole situation. Let's get started. So let's start with the origin of the idea that Mario Kart World is dead. Over the past couple of months, several Nintendo YouTubers have been posting videos about how Mario Kart World is dead. Take this one from SF Productions that has 227,000 views and has the title, quote, "Mario Kart World is dead and Nintendo doesn't care." And even some notable Nintendo YouTubers such as Nintendo Land got involved, saying, quote, "Everyone is quitting Mario Kart World." And that video got over 400,000 views. So why are these Nintendo YouTubers saying this about Mario Kart World? And more importantly, is the situation really that bad? But to understand why so many fans are calling Mario Kart World dead, we have to go back to when Mario Kart World was first announced. Because after the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct and also the Mario Kart World announcement aired, fans quickly found out that Mario Kart World would have the record high price tag of $80. I don't even think that Mario Kart World ever got the credit that it deserved just because fans were so impaired by the fact that it cost $80 for a full copy. The Switch 2 and Mario Kart World got a lot of hate when they were first revealed, and even a smear campaign that spread misinformation, and the $80 price of Mario Kart World was the leading cause. Another reason why Mario Kart World doesn't sit well with Nintendo fans is the intermission system. The intermissions in Mario Kart World basically have you start from one track and drive to the next. And the biggest complaint about these intermissions is that they're long and boring. The final argument that Nintendo fans have made about Mario Kart World is that it's just not that exciting. So those 3 points are the main points that I've seen on why Mario Kart World might be a mediocre game, but that doesn't make it dead. But let's skip ahead to June 25th, 2025. Mario Kart World Update 1.1.2 releases. Now this update didn't do anything that I would call significant, but there was one change that had players freaking out. And this change is noted under the fixed issues section of the update. It says, quote, "Made readjustments to fix an issue where rate fluctuations were sometimes displayed incorrectly in online play and knockout tour." Now this fix doesn't sound inherently bad, as it's really just meant to fix the rate counter and how the tracks are selected in online play. But as it turns out, the fix just ruined something that players had already had a difficult time dealing with. And this all has to do with those intermissions that I mentioned earlier. Because when you go online to play Mario Kart World, it's set up in kind of an interesting way. Instead of having an intermission mode and a 3-lap track mode, it has them both combined. And this system is particularly bad because when you go and play on online mode in Mario Kart World, the game automatically picks out 3 tracks that players can choose from. You can also pick a random track which isn't limited to the 3 tracks that the game allows players to vote for. And I'll get to this random option in a moment because it's pretty important to why players hate Mario Kart World. Once everybody has casted their votes, the game randomly picks one track that a player picked, which means that even if a majority of players pick one track, a minority track can still be selected to play on. And this randomness of how online play tracks are selected is a problem in and of itself, but that's not really the core problem here. The main issue is that the game suggests intermission tracks a lot more frequently than 3-lap tracks. And because Mario Kart World itself suggests intermission tracks during online play so frequently, that's where the random button comes in. Before this update came out, the random button was more likely to pick a 3-lap track than the voting options that the game picked out. And because the 3-lap tracks are much more popular among players than the intermission tracks, a lot of players started hitting the random button. But this tiny fix that Nintendo made in Mario Kart World's version 1.1.2 basically made the random button less likely to pick a 3-lap track. And this sparked a lot of outrage among players and Nintendo fans because this basically took away their safe haven for playing 3-lap Mario Kart World tracks. And I kind of think that this caused more of an uproar just because Mario Kart World had already been a controversial game. But are these reasons that Nintendo fans and Mario Kart World players dislike the game for actually justified? And do these reasons actually signify Mario Kart World being dead? Well, I think that most of the Mario Kart World hate isn't really the fault of the game itself. It's really just because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe set such a high bar. Even though some tracks did get criticism for being pretty bland and basic, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe with the booster course pass ended off with 96 tracks. And in comparison, Mario Kart World only has 30 tracks, or 32 if you count the other variations of Peach Stadium and Crown City. Now that sounds like a very small amount, but you do have to keep in mind that Mario Kart World is interconnected and there's a lot in between each track. But Nintendo fans and players still don't really like the open world concept of Mario Kart Worlds because it's kind of boring in between each track. Now, I do understand the reason why people don't like the intermissions in Mario Kart World, but there is a point to be said about the fact that the chaos kind of shifts to the 24-player nature. And when I say that, I mean that Mario Kart World is at least double more chaotic than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, just because there are 24 players rather than 12. Now, that doesn't make straight lines in the intermissions acceptable, but it does make them a bit more excusable. I think that the only hate that Mario Kart World receives that I can kind of agree with is the fact that Mario Kart World does cost $80. Because I was one of those people who bought the base model Switch and then I paid $80 for a physical copy of Mario Kart World, so I feel the pain. But I still think that it's partially unjustified to say that Mario Kart World is ridiculous for costing $80 because there is a Switch 2 bundle with a copy of Mario Kart World that has it priced at only $50 more than the base model Switch 2. Next, I do want to get into some positive points on why I think Mario Kart World doesn't deserve the hate before I get into my final take on is Mario Kart World dead. But before I do that, I would really appreciate if you would hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out. And if you're interested in supporting my channel financially, I have 3 different tiers of memberships available. My cheapest memberships start at $1.99, so if supporting How To Gaming is something that you're interested in, click the join button below. But anyway, let's get into a few positive points of Mario Kart World now that it's been 4 months since the game has come out. Despite the intermissions not being the most exciting thing about Mario Kart World, the coherence of the open world is actually really good. The open world honestly feels so large and substantial, and there's plenty of content in free roam mode to fill it. Some of the new tracks are actually really nice, such as Acorn Heights, Great Question Block Ruins, Boo Cinema, and DK Spaceport. They all feel really unique and interesting in their own right, whether it's aesthetics or gameplay. But now let's answer the major question, is Mario Kart World actually dead? Well, in my opinion, I don't think Mario Kart World is dead. I think giving criticism to Mario Kart World where it's due is definitely fair because it's not without flaws, but saying that a game like Mario Kart is dead is kind of a stretch. Now, I do think that a lot of YouTubers who made these videos about Mario Kart World being dead were definitely using clickbait in that case, because saying that a game like Mario Kart is dead is pretty intense, and just because a few online lobbies might be empty doesn't really say if the game is dead. And popularity of stuff in general, especially video games, just dies really fast and only gets like 5 minutes of fame. So ultimately, I don't think Mario Kart World is dead, and I actually think that it's going to be really popular in the years to come. But anyway guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and check out channel memberships if you're interested in supporting my channel. But anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day.